What is happening, you guys? Welcome back to Let's Go Win podcast, where we're here to help you win from within. Today, we have a really, she's so genuine, dynamic, open, vulnerable, free. And I guess, her background, you're going to get a chance to meet her, but she did this reality TV show. And I think maybe that helped her be so open, but it is so refreshing. Think there's so many good lessons in what she's about to share with us. So I'm excited to introduce you to Kelly Chase, who is an entrepreneur, speaker, podcast host, and social influencer, best known for her breakout role on Netflix hit series Love is Blind Season 1. With a community of more than 400,000 followers, she uses her platform to inspire others to chase life with confidence, self-love, and purpose. Kelly is passionate about helping women embrace their worth, step into their power, and fully expand into the greatness they deserve. Well, Kelly, it is so nice to have you on the show. And as I told you off air, I've never actually seen this show, so I'm excited to hear about what Love is Blind is all about. But more importantly, great to see you. Thank you for being here. What's awesome in your world? What is one thing that you're like, man, this is like the coolest thing happening in my world right now?
Oh, well, one, thank you for having me on the show. I would probably say going on a podcast tour, connecting with other humans, I think is just so cool. This is our first time meeting, and I'm just very grateful that I leaning more into things that light me up and sharing my story and hoping in hopes that it, heals parts of other people or gives them permission to go live audacious lives and be in their power too.
Were you always comfortable being an open book? Was this something that you're like, you know what? I want to share this with the world? Or was there a defining moment where you're like, or somebody said, Kelly, you really need to tell this story. This is something powerful. And then we'll obviously get into the story because my audience is like, okay, dude, let's hear what it is. But
Yeah.
was there a moment that you're like, you know what? I want to share it? Or have you always just been an open book?
I've kind of always been an open book. I would say like 10 years ago. So this was pre the reality TV show. I went through a health challenge. I gained about 30 pounds and I was health coaching. I was a certified health coach at the time. And it was, I was posting all these nutrition and workout videos and things like that. And I felt really like an imposter of it's like when you go to a doctor and they're overweight, but they're telling you like what to do, right? So I felt the same. And but it was when I just was very vulnerable about and just like put out the elephant in the room, like, hey guys, I gained 30 something pounds. It makes me feel this way, but I'm also trying to help people. I know like what to do and how to help people, but also I'm going through my own thing right now. And that really opened up a lot of wow, it's really helpful to be vulnerable. And people like it made them more relatable with me. They wanted to like work with me more. So I felt like that was kind of like a cornerstone for me. And then after the show aired, I think I'm just such a truth teller. And there was a particular narrative about me and I didn't love it. So of course I was trying to blab my way into truth seeking everything telling the truth, and Netflix was not very happy about that. It was I'm like I can't not share what like really happened because that just feels so weird for me. So yeah, but I don't know, I'm a Leo. I'm extroverted. I like being the center of attention in many ways, but I'm also very observant. Like I could go to a house party and just like I'll talk to the people and introduce myself, but I'm not gonna always be the one that's front and center. Like I like observing and watching the different body language going on and that kind of thing too. So yeah.
What was most interesting for you as you chose to do this show, which that's probably a story in itself of how you even decided, like, I'm going to go do this show.
Yeah.
What most surprised you when you did this? You're like, wow, this is really amazing. Or man, this isn't quite what I thought. What was your experience? And then please tell us more about the show, kind of maybe that narrative. Because again, I'm coming from a completely naive, I have no idea. I haven't seen the show. So you know what? Netflix, screw you guys for messing up the narrative. And Kelly's going to speak the truth on this one. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, just the premise of the show. So it's called Love Is Blind. I was on season one, filmed here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I mean, it speaks a lot for itself. Love is blind. We basically did like speed dating, but without seeing each other. So there was a wall. We were in two separate rooms. There was a wall dividing us, and all we could do is hear their voices. And so you are, you're basically trying to see if you can actually connect with them on an emotional and, an emotional level by personality only, and see if you can like fall in love with someone without ever seeing them. And then you get engaged behind the wall too.
Whoa.
Yeah. So your first, like, obviously you're not like going through the whole experiment blind, but it's just the like dating part. Then you getting engaged behind the wall, and then they do a big reveal. And then for the next like 5.5 weeks, you're like going on a trip with that person, you're living with that person, and really getting to know them on a physical level and everything. So the big reveal came. That was fascinating because you're like trying to put the like physical with the voice that you've been talking to the whole time, and it did take me a little bit to adjust to that. But yeah, so I mean that's the premise, and then there is a wedding at the end. So the couples that got engaged, for the most part, they follow you. Particularly our season, they followed you all the way to the altar, and you either said yes or no, or both of you said yes, or both of you said no. And in my truth, we on screen they had me saying no, and they made it look like I broke the man's heart at the altar. And they also had asked him while we were filming, and he also said no. But I had more of a storyline for them to work with and produce a narrative around. So they decided to make me the bad guy. But it's fine, I think I leaned in a little bit. I am a recovering people pleaser. And when that show aired though, and I was getting a lot of hate messages and were just like really big like character digs at me, like, oh, he dodged a bullet with you, and I'm like, I'm fucking awesome. What do you mean? It was just things like that, that I couldn't not be like, well, he said no too. Like, I just wanted to like stand up for myself, but then I'm like, okay, Kelly, 30 million people watch this. I can't go around to every single person and be like, this is what really happened, so. And particularly, again, Netflix was like, you need to stop doing that. So, but it was a fascinating experience. To answer your question, I think the thing that was so like eye opening for me was I didn't think I would connect with someone because everyone, I guess, including myself, but everyone was always like, Kelly, you go for, these you can be very picky, or you're going for these guys that are very good looking, but they know it and they don't treat you like the queen that you are. And so I don't know, I guess I was just like, I don't know, like it'll be just fun to do. I wasn't thinking that I was going to connect with someone. Didn't know I would be walking down an aisle in a wedding dress for the first time ever in my life. Like, it was a lot. It was very intense, high emotions. I probably cried during filming every single day, just when we were doing more of our like one-on-one interviews with production, because it was almost like they were therapists that I probably needed for my entire 20s. And they would ask about former relationships, or relationship with your parents, things like that. And I may not have really talked about those things much or ever before. So it was a lot of like bringing up past traumas and just relationship wounds and that kind of thing. So yeah, it was very emotional of an experience, very healing. I would say that it did catapult me into more of like a self-love and personal development journey,
Mhm.
that I was kind of already on, but it just like I went like full throttle after filming. So yeah.
Yeah, it's actually there's a lot to it. I need to go watch the show because I'm so fascinated by the idea. So many things are happening at this point. Yes, you get to fall or potentially find somebody, and then all the biases that we have, or you think somebody's going to look this way and then they don't. I can only imagine going through that. The emotions would be pretty wild. And me, who doesn't have a great poker face, when I see them, I'm like, holy shit, not what I expect. Not doesn't mean good or bad. It just means I pictured you this way. I have to imagine a lot of that's going on for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it was interesting because there were a couple of guys that would be like, "Hey, like let's give like one clue of like what we physically look like," and I was like, "No, I don't. Like, I want to play the game." But it was interesting just the way that so my person's name was Kenny, and just the way he sounded. I was putting. I think we all did this. We put like a picture. We created an image of what we thought they would look like, and I will say I was pretty spot on. Like he just sounded like a good old like Southern boy, like Charleston proper fraternity guy. Like, and he was this tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. And I do tend to be more attracted to like darker, like brunettes and just different, just not blonde. And so when we had the big reveal, it wasn't like oh, unexpected or anything, but I wasn't like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm so attracted to him." But the once the personality and the physical started meshing together, then I was like, "Oh my god, he's so handsome and he's good looking and he's just so kind." And it was like a perfect little mesh. So once that happened, I was good. But at first, I was like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. hmm
Well, 5 weeks though to think. My gosh, you're still a young lady here. That to be like, yep. 5 weeks later, I'm marrying this person. That is kind of bananas to me to even
Yeah,
think
it's
that.
bananas, yeah.
But there are probably people that do, right? I'm sure you said people on the show literally go through with it.
Yeah.
Um, when you look back on it, what is there a part of the show that you're like, this was my favorite part? I'm so glad I did it. Or, gosh, if I could rewind time, I just probably wouldn't do it at all, or I regret this. Do you have those moments, or you just like, look, man, I gave it all I could. This was my experience, and I'm moving on to the next chapter. Where do you sit with it now, as you? And then we'll go on to what you're doing because I know you're doing cool work. But I'm just
Yeah.
curious. I'm trying to think of how I would be in that moment. And looking back, when we do these things like we're doing now, gosh, if I had said this or if I had acted, did you do any of that? Or you're like, no, this is who I am, and I'm glad I gave it my all.
Yeah, I think reflecting back on it, not that I wasn't myself, but I do think that I wasn't fully myself. I wasn't as maybe like I said, as extroverted or as I was doing more of the observing. I didn't drink a whole lot while we were filming, whereas some of our other cast members were, which is fine. But I think that was intentional, of course. Like I wanted to be very present. I wanted to make sure that I was making good decisions and the correct decisions and everything, and it not be influenced by alcohol. But I don't know. I feel like maybe there were certain scenarios where I could have voiced my opinion more or at all. And not that I don't really watch reality TV. So how I wound up on the show is an interesting story too. But I I don't love the like toxicity or drama that reality TV can bring. However, I am my own person. I do have my own thoughts. And I think that there was like that deeper level again of that people pleaser and just really not knowing yet who I was. Again, like I said, I did this whole like catapulted headfirst into personal development after we got done filming. And yeah, I think I was just playing it safe a lot. So I wish now that I could go back and like have a different experience. Like I think I would just be a little bit more lively, a little bit more vocal about my thoughts and opinions. And or kind of go along with the narrative too. I feel like yeah, I feel like not that it did me a detriment, but I had so much like it was almost creating more anxiety and like paranoia and like mental health issues for me
Mm.
by trying to prove myself to people versus just being like, "Yep, I stood there up at the altar," and just like flowing with the narrative. I don't know, but then I probably would have felt icky for feeling like I was lying about it. So I think just maybe being a little bit more fully expressed while I
Yeah.
was recording.
The whole idea of people sending you hate mail for a reality TV show, that's the thing that just kind of saw, because I don't watch reality TV
Right.
either, unless it's sports related. Then Ultimate Fighter, I guess that's the closest thing. But for somebody to be like, they don't know, they have no idea. I mean, yes, they saw this segment of the show, but how long was the filming? Plus the 5 some odd weeks you said on a trip. They don't
Right.
see all this stuff, and it's humorous to me, but that it's humorous and it's actually quite cruel, I guess, that people think, oh, I know exactly what happened, and I have the ability to judge and tell Kelly, what a piece of garbage she is, or whatever the things, that awful things I'm sure they said. Gosh, isn't that just the kind of a microcosm of the society we live in today? And it's that I hope gets, like, you don't know, guys. We don't
Yeah.
know what somebody's going through. These athletes or, celebrities or whoever we see, you don't know. And you mentioned mental health, which I'm extremely passionate about. That stuff can be extremely hurtful and harmful to people. I don't know. Any thoughts you have on that? Because I just think it's crazy to me that people are going to write and be like, Kelly, you did him wrong. You're this, you're that. You have no freaking clue, people. You saw this much.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, although I got that particular edit, I mean, there was another girl on my season who she really got the villain title. And her a friend of hers that was, she was like did marketing or whatever. She was like, you stay out of your social media. Like, let me take care of it. And so she was filtering her DMs and comments, and she was like, stay offline. Like, you cannot be in this, because she really was like, she received a lot of like death threats. I mean, just
Wow.
terrible. It was so terrible. And I had her on my podcast to share a bit of the story. And I mean, she alluded to that she got very dark. It got very, very dark for her. And I was we don't hear it very often, but we know that there are people that come from reality TV that do take their own lives because it gets so heavy. And granted, yes, could there be other stories, trauma going on from their past that are creeping up? Sure. But like I even said, it was almost like when I was having those one-on-one conversations with production, it was like we were conjuring up all of my like past trauma. And knowing what I know from like the coaching space, and I've worked with trauma informed coaches, and how to, that is something that we do in the coaching space. You do you reveal a lot of stuff from people's past. You can, and you got to know how to like facilitate that out, so that you're not just like, okay, oh, you were this and this, let's reveal all these traumas, now go back into the real world. And
Right.
that's kind of what happened with us. We didn't have season 1 in particular, we did not have like therapy support on site with us. I'm sure it was offered like, hey guys, if you need something, but it was like, very casually said. But if I were in production now, and they might now, I mean, we were like 8-9 seasons in, but if I were creating a reality TV show, I would make sure that there were trained professionals on site for filming, after filming, when the show airs, after the show airs. I mean, to have so much support for these people, because we don't know. And yes, they're like, I'm sure that people that watch reality TV on a regular basis, they kind of understand the process, but they may not. They may just be so engulfed in the narrative that reality TV produces that they're like, yes, this is real and this is true and this is the way kind of thing. But I would like, it affects people's mental health so much. I mean, whether it's the narrative you get, or even if you got a great narrative, there's still going to be someone out there that is going to make some nasty comment. It could just be because your eye is asymmetrical with your other eye. Like, who knows? And they could just like start digging at your personal looks, even if you were the princess of the of the show. Like, someone is always going to say something and attack you in a certain way. And I had to, I guess, over time, think to myself, okay, they created this narrative of me, almost like disconnect from the fact that it was a reality TV show, and almost think that it was like a drama series, like Gossip Girl or Friends, like that we were actually actors and actresses playing a part. So those who are real true actors and actresses, like, they're not getting picked apart like that because of the character from the show. They may be
Right.
getting picked apart because of their own human personal stories, but from what they're seeing on TV. And so if I were to give advice to anyone that is going into filming a new reality TV show, I would give them that advice. Pretend you are an actor or actress, and because they're going to create a narrative for you. And that I think can help maybe like buffer that, okay, these people like don't take it so personally because they don't know you, they don't know the storyline. It's still going to affect you, but like maybe that could help create a little bit of disconnect between us taking it so personally, because it really was. I mean, people were like, you're going to die alone, like you should just die. You how dare you like break this guy, like make it all the way to the altar knowing well and good that you were never going to marry this guy, like you're just going to die alone, you should go to hell. Like I'm like,
Wow.
hell. Okay. I mean, and at first, like now, I not that I laugh about it because it's still not okay, but I'm okay, like in the sense of it's so long removed. But the first year and a half, 2 years that it was happening, not so great.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, stay out of your comments. I'm like, you catch them though, you see them. You want to reply to like the positive comments, but then you do get the negative ones, and you're like, ugh. Then I have my friends like go into attack mode in my comments for me, and I'm like, guys, it's not worth your time. Like, just don't. You're
Yeah,
having
I
a
know. I know it's not a perfect world, and it's not everybody's gonna be happy and sunshine and rainbows. But gosh, a little responsibility, people. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
bullying. At the end of the day, you're
it
being a
is.
bully. I'm curious. One last question toward around the show, and then we can dive into everything you're working on. Do you still talk to Kenny 8 years, 9 years later? You said that you guys still converse at all, or anybody from the show that you've remained close with?
Well, yeah. So we filmed in 2018, so it's been 7 years. Well, actually, we would be filming right now. October is when we start filming. I don't. I mean, we're like friends, on Facebook. He is married. He just had a child. Just had a baby with his wife. I met her because they were dating when we were doing like our like after the altar. So our like where are they now kind of episodes. They were dating, and so I met her then, and she's delightful. I mean, they're definitely a perfect match together. That just wasn't, it wasn't for us,
Yeah,
you
totally.
know. But yeah, so no, I don't like, I'll send her like a happy birthday like Facebook message or whatever, but that's about the extent.
Got it. Right on.
Yeah.
So now it sounds like you're really, when I was reading your bio, women embracing their worth and stepping into their power. Why is this such a passion for you? Where did that come from? Has it always been there? I mean, I look at my wife and some of the organizations she's done. I think it's incredible, and I think it's extremely needed. What is it for you that says, you know what, females, I this is my swan song. This is what I need to really bring to the world. Why is that so important to you?
Yeah, a couple of different things. Like I said, after we got done filming, I went full throttle into personal growth, and I hired my first business and mindset coach. And at the time, my intention for hiring her was obviously to grow my health coaching business. And I joke with her to this day because I still work with this coach. But I was like, you did more for my mindset than you did my business. Like she gave me the tools and everything, but I was like, I was so curious about myself and my behaviors and like the people pleasing. Like, where is this all coming from? What are my limiting beliefs? Like, that was my first real time going through and studying like subconscious reprogramming, and even like being introduced to somatic like body work and breath work and that kind of thing. And the I guess like one thing that we uncovered, I had experienced a really traumatic situation in college. So this was, I don't know, 12, 13 years prior to me doing this work. And what I realized was that my whole 20s, although I'm sure if you met me, you would think I'm basically the same person. I mean, I'm happy go lucky, bubbly, that kind of thing. Um, but I really was just like on autopilot and going through the motions. I mean, yes, I got certified as a health coach. I, got a personal training certification as well. I was working full time, but like my full time felt very just automatic, and that I was just going for a paycheck. There was no like purpose or passion in it. when I started with the health coaching, which I just kind of did because I had interest in it, not because I thought I was going to start a health coaching business. Um, but when I did, I started, I was working with people. They were like, "Oh, you're changing my life. You're helping me." And I'm like, "I've been in corporate America for 9 years. I've never heard anyone tell me that." And so that was kind of like I left corporate in 2017 to pursue the coaching. And I've been in and out of corporate since, but that was kind of like a turning point when I decided to like kind of go against the odds of like, okay, I'm gonna let go of something that, everyone's like, go to college, get married, meet someone, the traditional way, a path of doing things, and like work a safe and secure job and all that. I'm like, I'm just gonna blow up my life right now and just go against the grain. But when I started working with that coach, we started talking about the people pleasing, and like because we were discussing like how I'm showing up in my business more or less and just in life in general. And we started uncovering like money beliefs and money stories. And that is like one of the things that I hold dear to my heart too. Cause I was like, oh my God, I have so many limiting beliefs around money and wealth and rich people and all this stuff. And, one of the stories I associated with, although maybe I didn't necessarily believe it, but somewhere deep inside, it was just like, okay, one of my stories was like that wealthy people are cruel. And what is one Disney movie? Cruella de Vil, the 101 Dalmatians. It's like
Ah.
we associate, oh, this woman had so much wealth and her fur coats and everything, but she was so mean. And so our subconscious, because we're literally unconscious of that programming, could have created that story that wealthy people are not nice people and they're not good people. So it was like really fascinating in that regard. But just uncovering the trauma that happened from college, I was in like a domestic violence situation. It was emotional and verbally abusive. Felt like I had to do some type of sexual act to get out of a very like stuck situation. Like basically, I felt trapped. I was kind of trapped in a man's home. And I kept telling friends like in a way that I could without telling them everything because I felt so ashamed and embarrassed. But I mean, basically, like something would happen the night before. I mean, this was in college, so we're like drinking at the bars, that kind of thing. It was just like a lot of jealousy and control. And then the guy would call me up the next day and be like, "Hey, like, come over, we can talk about things." And granted, it's like how many times do you cry wolf until this like happens, or until you learn your lesson in a sense. But I would go over to his place and we would talk, and then I would like get up to go to the bathroom and I'd come back and like my purse was missing off the coffee table or my keys wouldn't be on the coffee table anymore. And I'm like, dude, like, where's my stuff? And he's like, you'll get it back when you get it back. And I'm like, well, I need to leave now. Like, I just felt so, I just felt trapped. So yeah, I just felt like I had to do some type of sexual thing in order to get out of there. And then it started to become more physical. I mean, he pushed me down in front of, granted, I'm glad we were in front of people, but he pushed me down. And this man, I mean, I was pushing maybe 100 pounds and he was definitely 250. So it was like a big linebacker pushing me down to the ground. Yeah, it was just a lot of things. Stole my car, broke my windshield at one point.
Oh.
But I had never done anything. I went to one therapy session right after all of that happened in my early 20s. And it could have been how I perceived it, but I don't think so. I'm sharing all of this with the therapist, and she responded, "And you kept going back to him?" And I'm like, you know what? That's what everyone's been asking me. I don't need your judgment too. Like that was in my head. I'm like, you're supposed to be like just holding space for me right now. So, my mom picked me up from that therapy appointment and she's like, did you make your next appointment? And I said, no, I'm good. I'm fine. And that was that. And
Mm.
I mean, I literally had this conversation with my mom about a month ago and she was like, had I known more about therapy and just more about your situation even back then, I would have been like, you may not like that therapist, but we're going to find another one. Like,
Right.
you're not okay. And, I think that was a very big reason as to why I was on autopilot because I was so disconnected from myself. I'm like, go to work all these side hustles, like go out drinking with my friends. I was constantly disconnected from myself. And then someone at some point years later was like, what do you like to do for fun? And I'm like, go out drinking with my friends. And I was like, know if I like doing that. I mean, it's fun, but like I hate feeling hungover the next day. And I don't know. I don't know what I like to do for fun. And if I do, I haven't done that in 10 years. Like, so I just started like going down this like personal development hole and started changing things about myself and kind of doing a 180 on my life and being more intentional. And the more that I studied the subconscious stuff, it started changing. And I'm like, the peace, the freedom, the power that has given me, that's why I want to give it back to women. Because one, probably one out of every two people, every two, like probably every woman out there has been in some type of harassment type of situation, domestic violence, sexual abuse, sexual assault in some way. And not even necessarily that, but I just know that that's a lot that's rooted in it. You know, we abandon ourselves often because we just want to be loved, we want to be accepted, we want to feel acknowledged and wanted and desired. And I want women to have their power back based on a lot of stuff that I've been through. And because of the healing work that I continue to do, I just want to empower people that you can feel this way too. It doesn't have to feel so automatic. You don't have to feel so limited in your resources. Like I feel sometimes like my social media is all over the place because I'm like, oh, I'm a model one day and I am talking about business coaching another day and I'm talking about money mindset another day and self-love and then I'm doing something else another day. Like, but I'm like, I just keep, I mean, my last name's Chase, is Chase Life with Kelly. You know, it's like I keep chasing the things that light me up because why wouldn't you want to pursue the things that make you happy and give you joy and make you feel so confident and empowered versus keeping yourself stuck? Like we have one life to live, you know?
Well, I think I can only imagine when you see these 20, 21, 30, 40-year-old women, doesn't matter. You can see the Kelly of old to be like, hey, you're not alone. And I've never been in that situation. Obviously, I'm a man. I've never had it that way, I guess. But that doesn't mean it can't be abused both ways.
Right.
But I
Right.
guess my point is, I can only imagine as you're walking through and you see somebody maybe going through life in that same not
Hmm.
fully alive and present. Yeah, you want to reach out and say, I'm not judging. I'm not suggesting I know, because I don't know. It's similar to what we said before. Everyone's situation and story is different. And yet I'm here for you. And you don't nobody deserves to be treated that way. So yeah, it's obviously a powerful story. And you know what? You sharing your entire life with people, good for you. Like, I get so tired of marketing firms saying you have to niche and just talk about this one thing. Guess what, man? Multi-layered person, lots of shit going on.
Right.
400,000 plus followers for you, it is saying that people are interested in what you're saying. So I think it's really powerful. You've mentioned personal development a few times. I'd like to give some context to maybe what have you found that's been best? You mentioned somatic,
Hmm.
you mentioned breathwork, you mentioned, you didn't say NLP, but that's what I
Yeah.
heard. Um, was there a specific group genre that you're like, yes, I wish everybody knew about X? And I really don't care what the answer is. I think as an audience member, that's why I'm going, well, cool. Personal development, it's such a big thing,
Yeah.
but where do I go? Have you
Yeah.
found one for you that was like, oh my God, this is profound? Please, ladies and gentlemen, go take a look at this.
Yeah. Yes. So breath work, like triactive breath work. So it's the three, like inhale through the like diaphragm, chest. So it's inhale, and then exhale through the mouth. Um, that has been, I've done it, I don't know, probably like 8 times, and I want to do it more. But I didn't really like the first time that I ever did it. Obviously, I'm going in it blind. I have no idea what to expect. I'm like, oh, we're just doing like breath. We're going to be here breathing. No, no. I was like this. How I reacted. It was maybe a 30-minute session, 40-minute session. I was actually like here in my house. My mentor was on a Zoom call from San Diego, and so she was facilitating this breathwork through the Zoom. Um, I had a blanket on, but I was so cold. I got really cold, but like when I came to, I was like drenched in sweat.
Wow.
Yeah. I was crying like I haven't cried in a very long time, like as if someone died in my arms. Like just like so many emotions. And I just couldn't, and not that I couldn't like catch my breath, because basically the more intense that you do that, the faster you breathe like that, the faster you drop into your body. Because most of us, to explain a little bit more about the breath work, so most of us are in our head. We think in our head, we respond from our mind, we respond from our head, but we don't respond from our body. Like if I were to be like, hey, how are you doing today? You're just gonna be like, good, I'm fine, I'm okay. That's our mind responding. That's our head responding. But if you're in your body, you can be like, well, I'm actually going through this grief and I'm angry about this and I'm ashamed about this and I'm embarrassed about this. And like all these emotions are there, right? Because we suppress a lot of our emotions. I mean, I still do it to this day. I am highly aware. I'm an extremely self-aware person. I know I'm like, okay, I have this pit in my throat, but the tears aren't coming and I can't get it out. Like sometimes I will watch a show that I know is going to make me cry just to cry. But the breath work was so intense, and it could make you do different things. Crying is one of them. Some people like laugh hysterically. Some people apparently have orgasms. That has never happened with me, but I like the fact that I cry because again, it just is such profound emotional release. It doesn't have to be a 30 to 40-minute session. You could probably drop down in like 10 minutes, but I had some other issues going on and I felt such like I didn't know how to explain it besides the fact of like I just had this like internal like overall sense of peace around the situation that came out of it, and like this like letting go. Like I had no control over the situation, but I think that was like the emotions that were going on was like this control, this grief because I couldn't do anything about it.
Mm.
And then I just finally had this like release with all those tears, and it was just profound. So I mean, I highly suggest that. I don't practice it as much, but like emotional freedom technique I think is pretty cool. I've done it a handful of times. I do think that it works. I did in a recent therapy appointment try EMDR. And I will say it was a similar after effect as the breath work for me.
Mm.
Could have just been that session, but I felt that again, that like overall like release, I guess, from that. So maybe that's an avenue for some people to check out. And you don't have to breathe heavy and get all sweaty and everything. And you can probably do it in like
Well,
20 minutes. So
and to your point, though, I will say this, sometimes people get stuck with, well, come on, really, this is real. Like we stuff this stuff and it hangs on. Myself just recently, literally last week, I went up to Temple of the Universe for those Michael Singer fans, his place. And he had a very simple talk, and it was on literally opening your heart and releasing the blockages because it gets stuck. To your point, we're typically in my head. I'm very cerebral. It's all here instead of actually being in my heart, in my sacral, in my root chakra, and all that. But to your point, when you can release that, guys, if you want abundance in your life, you want love, you want joy, you want freedom, there it is. And
yeah.
again, there's many avenues. Not one is better than the other, but I like exposing people to it because, again, I've done that breath work as well. I typically just do an alkaline breath work on a daily basis, but whatever works for you is the point.
Right.
Um, Tell me about your coaching a little bit. Tell me what you're doing, what you're excited about. What are you working on that you're like, man, this is so good. World, you got to know this is what chasing life with Kelly looks like. This is what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah. So again, I was a health coach for like 12 years or about 11 years. The last year I kind of paused on all coaching because I was like, I want kind of like a clean break when I come and catapult into a different type of coaching. I've evolved as a human. I think the last time that I did health coaching, it was only because it was what I was familiar with and what I knew. And what I knew other people knew me for. And it didn't feel good coaching the last time because I was so evolved from it. I didn't want to create, nutrition plans and workouts for people. I'm like, I want to consult people on like how to create their own high ticket offer and like the basic business level, basic business coaching of how to create a digital course and sell that versus like feeling like you're stuck or doing group coaching, giving people more time freedom, location freedom, yeah, all of that. And then obviously like money mindset, because that was so profound for me. And just, at it's like this stuff gives you so much awareness, and awareness is the key to change. So if I can help give someone, or help someone reveal to themselves like what their limiting beliefs are, what is keeping them stuck, what excuses do they keep, what's the narrative that they keep telling themselves as to why they're not doing the thing, why they're not, you know, dating the right person, even, like whatever the case may be. Like my, as you just mentioned too, like so many people are like, oh, you need to like focus on like one niche. And I'm like, I can't, because I know it's all connected. Like, sure, I do want to do more of like, I don't want to market myself in the sense that I'm attracting people who are just coming to me for relationship help and they don't have a business. Like, I want the entrepreneurial minded woman who wants to create that business for themselves. Just because I've seen it. I know too many coaches that have created so much freedom and impact in their lives and the lives of other people that I'm like, maybe I'm just biased, but I'm like, everyone needs to be doing this. Like, everyone needs to have like some type of like digital product, online course, online offer, because you can impact more people. Like, I mean, I could totally go offline and not do anything online and just go to my local community and I would be fine. And I'm sure I would be successful. But I'm like, it's really cool having like a client in like Australia. It's really cool connecting with people from all over the world. And you never know where your client is. So I do, like, my mission is to help women create like an identity shift for themselves, become the person who is having a successful business, who is creating generational wealth, who is, having an emotionally available relationship and emotionally connected, and just really calling in this like next level love, wealth, and a soul led business. That is my like purpose right now. And so I am, it's kind of interesting because social media, the algorithm, it's like, oh, what is she doing today? But I'm like, Kelly, just rip out that content. Like, we just got to like get it so that I continue to attract my type of people versus, that was a big thing too. Like, after the show aired, it's like, I got, you know, hundreds of thousands of followers that were there for me from a show, not there for the evolution of Kelly.
Sure.
Not necessarily. Some, yes, and they have stayed, and that's beautiful. But others are like, I've lost a lot of followers, and I'm like, good. At first, it bothered me, but I'm like, good. Those are not my people, and I don't want them. So that's awesome. But I'm just gonna keep the new content that I'm putting out. I'm attracting my people.
Oh, it's well said. Ultimately, we're not going to resonate with everybody. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Not everybody is meant to be our clients. I do love what you said about, what I heard was not being selfish by just staying local, but actually taking it worldwide. As you were mentioning, your breathwork coach was in San Diego, you were in Atlanta. Like, how freaking cool is that to have a life changing, not to make it sound too dramatic, but
Yeah, but it
a
was.
life altering experience
Yeah.
with somebody that literally we're doing what we're doing right now. There's a screen.
Right.
We're not anywhere near one another. And yet you shifted my entire thing.
Mhm.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, I do want to do more things in my community locally because
sure.
I want to be more in person. I do think that there's a cool balance, because I did the coaching where I was just in my house all the time and I was doing back to back Zoom calls. And I was like, my mental health is not okay right now. I need to get out. So that is another thing that I am, just planning with other women in the community, is hosting events, little workshops, panel discussions, dinners, retreats, that kind of thing. Because I feel like I am more dynamic in person. I think everybody is.
Sure.
You
Of
feel that
course.
exchange better. So I want to do that.
I'm looking at the time. It kind of flew by. What didn't I know enough to ask you? Kind of the last maybe minute or two that you're like, JM, come on, man. Like, you should have known to ask me this. Just
we
anything you want to
so
share.
we covered
Open form.
so much. Well, I mean, we really did cover so much, so thank you for this space. I mean, honestly, it's just a message to your listeners of the work really is important, and even like what I didn't touch on but you did, like with the breath work, what that is doing, it is, it's regulating your nervous system. It's giving you it's helping you release those old patterns and stories to help you form new ones, and you're really like changing your neuroplasticity when you're doing all this. But it's helping you to expand your capacity to hold more and more power, more, more money, even. I mean, a lot of like, there's a woman out there, Samantha Skelly. Her Pause Breathwork is the name of her. That's my facilitator, got certified through her program. And that is like one of the things that she teaches. Like, that's the power, I guess, behind her breathwork is like teaching women that they can actually bring in and attract more money when we have more capacity to hold it. And when we're doing that, it's, through that breath work. And again, it may not be that triactive, but it is some form of breath work that is helping you to just kind of like edge your nervous system, ground it, stabilize it, regulate it. And so you're kind of like edging to like, okay, if you're making only, $5,000 a month, $20,000 might sound like a lot. So how can we edge it to like 8,000 or 10,000? And so you're increasing your capacity to hold it. And I'm not like an expert in that. I just understand the method of it. And I want to share that because it's so profound, the work, whether it's subconscious or somatic. I think collectively, like, you could literally become a completely different person, and your reality today can truly do a 180. I mean, and I'm just like, your sky, like one of my other mentors, she's always like, the sky isn't even the limit. And I'm like, that is so true. I just feel like we just cap ourselves so much. Like, oh, I
Oh,
can't
it's
do
true.
that. I
We're
can't
energetic beings, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Money is frequency. Everything in this world is frequency. So if you're all jumbled up, yeah, it's going to be hard to hold on to more. It's going to be hard to attract more. But if you can free that,
Right.
yeah, you're going to attract more.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's easy to find you, but if my listeners are like, hey, this is the first time I've heard Kelly, she sounds pretty awesome. Going to go check out Love is Blind season 1 and
Yeah.
also go check you out now. Where is the best place? Is it Chase Life with Kelly? Is that the best
Yeah.
place? Or
Yeah.
tell everybody where?
Yeah, so on Instagram, you can connect with me. It's at Chase Life with Kelly. My podcast is Chase Life with Kelly. It's streaming everywhere. It's on YouTube as well. On TikTok is my only different handle, and that is I am Kelly Chase. And then, yeah, I guess you can check out my website, find where, like, how you can work with me if you feel called to do that. It's chaselifewithkelly.com. That's it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. I think you
You.
touched on some really important stuff that I hope, not only females, guys, gals, anybody that has been affected or in any abusive relationship. I mean it sincerely. Please, please go find some place to go talk to people. But thank you for bringing that up and just showing up as authentically and genuine.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me and letting me do that.
She gave us a lot of tools. I mean, talking about the breath work and that experience that she had with going through the diaphragm into, I think it was the heart and then out. To have that experience, I thought that was pretty profound. And then, of course, when she talked about, her experience as a young lady with the abuse. And again, this show is typically not heavy, and that's not the point. But I thought she brought up so many good points for those of us that have kids. Maybe you are a kid, your experience abuse. You don't need to. You are worth way more than that. No one gets to verbally abuse you, sexually abuse you, physically abuse you, like mentally, emotionally. That doesn't exist. That you are worth way more than that. So I hope you heard that loud and clear. She shared her journey, what got her out of it. And ultimately, I just think that needs to be shared again. And, some of the other things that she talked about with personal development, personal growth, self-limiting beliefs, we all have them. And I think that's the thing that us to all realize and say, it's okay. I am a flawed human being. I do have these self-limiting beliefs that I got before I even had a choice in the matter. That's the thing. These things come before we even have our long-term memory. But that doesn't mean that you have an excuse not to deal with them, overcome them. And I thought what she was talking about and her continuing to seek that and create the abundance that she's looking for, everyone can get some. I certainly got a ton from that. And so I hope that you will please share this with someone that you know, love, and care about. Whether they're in an abusive relationship, they're trying to improve their business, they're trying to improve their self. This is just a great episode. And I thought Kelly was a fantastic guest. So until next time, remember, your mindset matters. I appreciate you all. We'll talk soon.